Hi. So we are all done covering the year-round homeschooling subjects I wanted to share with you, but there are a few things that I believe are important to your homeschooling journey that I wanted to share with you as well. So I decided to make a few bonus videos where I could give you some encouragement, maybe some inspiration that you hadn't considered to make your homeschooling journey really special and unique. So as a year-round homeschooler, because you have the entire calendar year to use to your advantage, you will have the opportunity to really make everyday life part of your homeschooling. Sometimes when you follow a normal homeschool schedule of September through May, you miss out on that because you're trying to make your minimum state requirements or cover all your subjects, and you don't really have the flexibility to use everyday life as part of your homeschooling. But when you have the whole calendar year, it's really simple to do. But maybe you don't know what that looks like. So I wanted to give you a few ideas of how you could use everyday life to be part of your homeschooling in simple ways that your kids could enjoy, and it could be part of your family time together. So for home ec, it's easy. Obviously, you can teach your kids to cook and clean. Those are two things they're going to need to know how to do before they leave your home. Otherwise, they're going to be calling and asking you to come over and do it for them. And by the time you're done parenting, that's the last thing you're going to want to go do is clean up after your kids again. Another thing they're going to need to know how to do is how to budget. They're going to have to pay their own bills. And most high school math programs don't include teaching kids how to budget or how to manage their finances. They're algebra, algebra 1, geometry, calculus. That's it. And algebra 2. That's it. There is not really a big math publisher out there that has produced a financial literacy course for high schoolers. So it's important that you start teaching your children from a young age how to budget and how to manage money so that they continue to learn that throughout their growing up years, so that when they get older they understand why it's important and what that exactly looks like. Another great way to cover home ec is landscaping. Let your kids get outside and get dirty with you. Let them make their difference in the outside of your home make it look nice. And that's another great way to cover home ec. Now math. Math is easy to cover many, many ways as part of your everyday life. Grocery shopping. Your kids, oh mom, I want this, oh mom, I want that, and by the time you get to the register, you're like, where did all this stuff come from? Like, my kids sneak things in and I don't even see them do it. And it's not just when they're little, they do it when they get bigger, and they're sneakier when they get bigger. But grocery shopping is a great way to teach them math, because they need, again, this is part of budgeting, but they really need to understand, okay, let's look at, this might be cheaper, but is it cheaper in the long run, or is it just cheaper by the box? Is it not cheaper by the weight? They really need to understand how to grocery shop and really save money doing grocery shopping. They can help you stay on budget. They can help add things up as you go, especially that when there was a time in my life when my son was younger, and I used to add things up as I went to make sure I knew I was on budget before I got to the register, because finances were tight. And I had my son help me do the math as I went through the grocery store. And so that was teaching him how to budget, but it was also working on his addition skills and math multiplication skills. So absolutely use grocery shopping to teach your kids math. Another great, and kids will say this is way more fun than grocery shopping, Mom, is allow them to be part of your vacation planning. Teach them how to plan for a vacation, how much it's going to cost per person, how much it'll cost to get there, how much the vacation itself will be, how much time will it take to get there, how many miles away is it, however you're traveling. Let them figure all of those mathematical details out. They'll have fun planning a vacation and figuring out the budget part of it as well, and it'll be a lot of fun for them. Cooking is another great way to cover math, because they're going to need to work on their fractions. I spent 6 months teaching my son fractions when he was younger. I put everything away, everything. We didn't do anything but fractions for 6 months because he really struggled with fractions for whatever reason. That concept was difficult for him. So we covered fractions for 6 months. And now he's a pro at them. And he actually taught my daughter. He's like, I've got this. I can teach her. That's awesome for having older children as homeschoolers, by the way. But cooking is a great way to teach kids math. Fractions are awesome with cooking, and time and temperature, all of that. Math is awesome in the kitchen. So I have an artist, and one of the ways that we cover art with real life is she creates home decor. If your home needs decor, then allow your kids to create art and allow them to decorate their room or decorate the bathroom. If you've got artists, use their skills to your advantage because home decor is expensive. So let them create that. And then if they really do well with it, they can have a business on the side. Etsy is awesome. So is, I'm trying to think the other website that you can, eBay. They're awesome for those things. Get them moving. Farmers markets are great places for art too. So get art as part of your everyday life homeschooling for those little ones who've got the skill to do it. Music. My daughter sat down to the piano today and just played, and it wasn't for any reason at all. Just sat down and played the piano. She hadn't played it for months, and it was so beautiful to hear her play. But that was a everyday life part of our homeschool today was she sat down and played the piano for about half an hour, and I was just like, wow, that was beautiful. And it was part of our everyday homeschooling, but it was not on the plans at all. Geography. So geography is important, and a fun way to teach geography to your kids to make it real life for them is have them draw a map of your hometown and have them draw it to scale. That's something that kids can work on too, is teaching them how to draw to scale and make them, put everything to scale and put all the different places, put the park, put the post office, have them draw that so that they understand where they live. And if they were to ever end up, walking somewhere, they wouldn't end up lost. And so that's a really fun way to incorporate geography that's part of your everyday life. Science. Again, we talked about these before in a couple other subject topics, but science is also found in the kitchen. Cooking is a part of science. Baking is a part of science. Absolutely. It covers science. Use it to your advantage. Gardening is another great way to cover science. My kids loved when we did a garden before we moved and owned cottages. That was one of our favorite things. I have pictures, and I recently saw them on a Facebook memory, and it was beautiful. We worked together and put a garden in the ground, and they loved getting our own vegetables. It was so much fun for them, but it was also them actually seeing science in action and experiencing it. And so that's one of my favorite science memories with my kids. The last one I wanted to cover was language arts. So language arts is everyday life is fun for language arts because it's part of your conversation. They can work on language arts. Listening is a skill that's often forgotten in language arts. We are such a communicative society now. We've got so much to say and so many ways to say it. We really need to make sure our children know how to listen because that's also an important language arts. But another great way to cover that in everyday life is read alouds. We love to read aloud as a family. Even though my teenagers hem and haw, when I can finally get them settled down and I pick a book that really interests them, they love doing read aloud time. So I hope this segment kind of gives you a few ideas of ways that you can incorporate everyday life into your homeschooling to have fun and really build up your homeschooling to where it's an experience for your children. They can see that learning is happening every single day of their life. And before you know it, learning will be a lifestyle that they come to enjoy for years and years.